Warning: this video contains themes of violence, gang activity, and death. This video was made for educational purposes and in no way glorifies gang activity or any of the people involved. We made all efforts to make sure our sources are accurate so we can give the most accurate video possible. With that being said, let's get into the video. Today we're going to tell you how one of Colombia's biggest and most influential artists got sentenced to 17 years in federal prison. Eric Jonathan Stewart, better known as Juwop, is an artist you all know from Columbia, South Carolina. He is known mostly for being an artist and rapping about the harsh reality of growing up in the neighborhood he grew up in. Juwop grew up in the vicious streets of Columbia, South Carolina. He is recognized by the Columbia Police Department as a verified blood gang member. He is no stranger to the dangers of the streets. In fact, he took all his street problems head-on. Juwop was in the streets throughout all his teenage years, catching his first charge at just 17 years old. On May 6, 2013, deputies were patrolling near Anderson and Main Streets in Eastover around 9 p.m. Saturday during the town's parade and barbecue festival. According to the sheriff's department, they heard several gunshots nearby. An officer witnessed Juwop and two other men jump into a yellow and purple 2002 Crown Victoria. Deputies stopped the vehicle and saw a handgun on the floorboard. They later determined the gun was stolen out of Clarendon County. Eric Stewart was charged with possession of a stolen weapon. Darian Chandler, 19, was charged with driving without a license. Michael Hall, 29, was charged with unlawful carrying of a pistol. Juwop would end up beating those charges because he was a minor. He would go on to start his rap career, dropping some of his biggest tracks to date. Juwop was on his way to becoming one of South Carolina's stars at just 21 years old. All of the rap lyrics about the trap life and being about the street life were soon to be proven true. On October 15, 2016, Juwop would be on the way back from Georgia to Columbia after allegedly meeting his plug. At around 7:30 p.m. an officer would attempt to pull Juwop over for driving 112 miles per hour in a 70 miles per hour zone. Georgia State Police assisted in the chase just after 8 p.m. Troopers attempted to put out stop sticks at mile marker 175, but couldn't because of the high rate of speed as well as other cars on the road. The chase ended on Bobby Jones and I-20 eastbound when troopers did a pit maneuver forcing Juwop to crash onto the median wall. Deputies said they found a large amount of drugs on Stewart, including ecstasy, Xanax, and other pills they're working to identify. Juwop also had a gun. They said the chase reached at least 135 miles per hour at times. Juwop was held in the Taliaferro County Jail and was facing multiple charges from Georgia State Police, including driving without headlights and license, speeding, fleeing and eluding, open container, DUI, felony trafficking, and driving in an emergency. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison. 4 years later, in 2020, Juwop would take to his Instagram Live to let all his friends and fans know that he was soon to be released from prison and he would be returning back to Columbia, South Carolina to take his spot back in the rap game. A couple months later, Juwop would take to his Instagram Live to show that he was indeed back in Columbia, South Carolina and out of prison. He would go on to start dropping music again, trying to secure his spot back amongst his peers. He would go right back to his old ways of gangbanging and drug dealing. Being the well-known person that he was, the actions of Juwop had him under the microscope of the biggest gang in America, the federal government. Evidence presented to the court showed that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, better known as the ATF, and the Richland County Sheriff's Department began investigating Juwop for drug and gun-related activity in the beginning of 2021. During their investigation, they documented social media posts of Juwop posting guns and advertising drugs. After months of surveillance, on May 5, 2021, Richland County Sheriff's Department obtained and executed a search warrant at Juwop's home. They seized counterfeit prescription pills, over 900 grams of marijuana, and a pistol. One group of counterfeit pills contained fluorofentanyl, fentanyl, meth, and tramadol, and another contained methamphetamine and cocaine. The counterfeit pills were similar to the pills posted by Juwop on social media. Juwop was nowhere to be found at the home. On June 20, 2021, a City of Columbia Police Department officer attempted to conduct a traffic stop on a car driven by Juwop. He ran from the car and fled between nearby houses. While Juwop ran, he was holding his waistband. The officer pursued Juwop, who gave himself up once he ran past the houses. Officers retraced the path that Juwop ran and found that he had discarded a gun between the houses. He was apprehended and arrested. Before these incidents, Juwop was a known gang member with convictions for assault and battery of a high and aggravated nature and possession with intent to distribute methamphetamine, as well as multiple convictions for burglary. All of those convictions prohibited him from possessing firearms or ammunition under federal law. He was to sit in the county jail while he waited for his trial. While awaiting trial, Juwop would catch another charge. On January 27, around 3 p.m. deputies were notified of a dead inmate, later identified as Antonius Randolph. He was found inside a cell at Alvin S. Glen. Deputies stated they arrived at the cell to find Randolph with blood around his body. Sheriff Leon Lott said Juwop and 4 other men have each been charged with murder and conspiracy for the killing of 29-year-old Antonius Randolph. Deputies determined around 8 p.m. on January 26, the 5 inmates entered Randolph's cell, put a cloth over the door, and beat him. It wasn't until approximately 2:15 p.m. on the 27th that Randolph's body was found by jail staff. In February of 2023, Eric Stewart or Juwop, 28 years old, of Columbia, was sentenced to more than 17 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to possession of a firearm by a felon and possession with the intent to distribute fluorofentanyl, fentanyl, cocaine, methamphetamine, marijuana, and tramadol. Senior United States District Judge Cameron McGowan Curry sentenced Stewart to 212 months in prison, to be followed by a 6-year term of court-ordered supervision. There is no parole in the federal system.